Hey guys, Tisha here, and the camera is jiggling. We are back with another Sister Wives Season 7 review. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you all had a great Christmas. We are here and we are going to finish out strong. So, we know that in the last episode, we saw Cody and family come to Missouri to meet this family that are called biblical polygamists. Y'all don't mind me as I fix this because that was gonna. You see how I just turned it and then it decided to move itself back? How rude. Yes, I'm leaving that in. I'm not editing nothing. Anyways, okay, we know previous episode they're going to meet this polygamous family. They've driven all these miles to meet them because they want to see their first ever biblical polygamist. Now, Cody feels like it's unique to have someone defending their perspective of polygamy, especially with it coming from the Bible. It's fascinating to him. Meanwhile, even after the episode is completed, I'm still sitting here confused because I thought that their faith included doctrine from the Bible. So, did they not do this because of the Bible? Did they just do this because of John Smith and the teachings of him? I'm quite confused. Christine says that she's excited to meet this family, but it's also weird to have driven 1,400 miles for a family that they don't even know. And I agree. It kind of makes me feel like Christine was the only one out of the adults that didn't want to take this trip, especially because Cody kind of alludes to the fact that she was the one who was more cautious later on in the episode. So, she's right. Like, come on. These are people that you just talk to through the internet. This could have been a catfish thing like what Mary experienced. I shouldn't have said that. No, anyway. Janelle is actually willing to drive far to meet biblical Christian family because she's open to, seeing who they are, as well as curious to see how polygamy works when you don't have a Mormon background. This is one of the reasons why titles kind of get on my nerves, because with the different facets of Christianity, it seems like everybody adds their own little sauce onto things, and that everybody in this group is supposed to be labeled as Christian, but some Christians feel like they have it more accurate than others. And this is just what it made me think of. Y'all, when I get on a rant, don't mind me. I'm just going to get it out there and go back to the stuff. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Mormons do not feel like the Bible is complete. And as a result, they have additional doctrine that they follow. I'm not sure. So if you're more knowledgeable about that, please put it down in the comments so that I don't sound completely foolish and I can figure out what it is that, the belief is. Because I'm truly confused. I don't understand the different forms of polygamy and how they're separated, because it seems like the Richards, who we're going to meet in a few, is more about the biblical teachings, whereas the Browns are doing something else. And because the Browns don't really disclose a lot about their faith, I'm not quite sure what they are doing that's so different. So Nathaniel is the husband. Rebecca is the first wife. She's been married to him for 13 years. And then there's Christina, the second wife, who has been married to him for 5 years. They have 9 children together. And we learn at the end of the episode, basically, that all 9 of those children have come from his first wife, Rebecca, which is so probably hard for Christina to process. And I kind of wish that Mary pulled her to the side and had a talk with her, because Mary has experienced what it's felt like to want to have children and struggle to have them. So that could have been a really nice bonding moment for them. If they did, it wasn't something that we saw. They admit to it being awkward when they first are meeting the Browns, because it did look awkward. TLC even played the music in the background. We find out that they did not come from a Mormon culture, and they did not come from a polygamous culture, that they were Christians. And as a result, Cody lets us know once again that he is interested in how they were inspired to become polygamous without being introduced to the polygamous culture. We are told that there are a lot of polygamists living in Missouri, but the Richards are more private about their lifestyle. I think it's safe to say that after this episode, which I kind of want to see if I can look them up and see what they look like now, especially the kids, because they had some really beautiful kids. But safe to say that, you know, now that they've done this, in some ways, you've gone public. You're on a national television show. Even though Rebecca is the first wife, some of her husband's co-workers do not know about her because she is the stay-at-home mom. Where Christina, the second wife, they do know about because she drives to go and pick him up sometimes from work, and I'm assuming that she works as well. Janelle immediately says in confessional, "Oh my goodness, do they know what they're getting themselves into?" And I sat here and I said, I don't know if they really did. I wonder if they were more excited about the meeting the Browns piece than truly exposing themselves as polygamists. But then part of me felt like, okay, maybe they were really using this as their way of coming out, because they've seen the show. It had to have been a thought in their mind that, knowing the cameras were there, that this could lead to something else. You then hear the Richard parents say, "Fall in," and you see all of the children line up according to their age. Nathaniel lets us know that he believes in the military concept, some of them, of organization. Some people may be mad at it, but I can understand why, with 9 children, that you would take this approach, because it does make for things to look like they flow faster. As the kids are coming out one by one, you can't help but notice their beautiful red hair. When I say it was red, it was red. And Cody uses this time to embarrass one of the little boys named Jonathan and let him know that his daughter, his oldest daughter, Aspen, loves redheads, which is cute when you think about it, because Aspen did marry Mitch, who is a redhead. They know it may seem strange that their kids fall in the way that they do, but Rebecca says that it helps them. Seems okay to me. Doesn't seem strange to me. If I had that many kids, I'd probably be like 1, 2, and they better be in line by 2. They do a Passover Seder. Cody says, "Do you do this often?" And Nathaniel answers that we've done this for a couple of years now, but I think Nathaniel was fibbing a little bit, because in confessional, Rebecca says this is their first time doing it on their own. I'm not gonna break the whole concept of all of this down, because it was obvious that they really didn't know what they were doing. And I don't feel like this is, I don't want to act like it's not a big deal, because it matters. It's important to this family. It's a part of what they do. But I feel like they didn't do it because this is something that they always do. Feel like the Richards kind of did it as something to educate the Browns. And maybe for it to come across more effectively, they should have incorporated someone who's more familiar with it to facilitate it. Because it just made me cringe a little bit, because like he was reading parts that he wasn't supposed to read and things of that nature. And I was just like, okay, y'all got to do a little bit better. We on TV. Christine says that Nathaniel is 33 and it reminds her of Cody at that age. She said that they are very similar, and it just seems like he's just trying to do what's right for his family. As Nathaniel begins to say the blessing, Cody feels the need to let us know that he can say it in Hebrew, because we all know that the bald eagle at some point has to gain the attention so he can stand on that perch in front of the bird and the others, and is going to do a measuring contest like, okay, mine are bigger than yours. Pardon my crudeness, but that's just what it is. He proceeds to say the blessing in Hebrew, and he lets us know that he has a Jewish friend, and he asks his Jewish friend to teach him it because he thought it would be fun to be able to say it in Hebrew. All right. They talk about the different plagues. They make it interactive. Then they eat some of the Passover food. Then Christine says that even though she was reluctant, that the family is sweet and the kids were sweet, and she feels bad for thinking those thoughts. I do not feel like Christine should have ever felt bad for being cautious. These are your children. You should make sure that you want to protect them and you don't put them in environments where something could happen to them. They talk about this whole tradition thing that they have where the husbands and the wives look into each other's eyes and take their first bite because they want to make sure that they're thinking of the other and all that other stuff. And it is a little weird. It feels a little intimate. Christine's happy that they don't do it. It makes her uncomfortable. And we see them eat their food. The Browns say goodbye, they leave, and they come back the next day. So it's the next day. Nathaniel lets us know that they chose polygamy not because of the Book of Mormon, but because it's part of the Old Testament and the New Testament. It's what they're called to do. They feel they're people who are called to be celibate. There are people who are called to have more than one wife. There are people who are called to have a lot of children. There are people who are barren. There are people who just are in society for specific reasons. According to them, no one thing is deemed to be right or wrong. There are multiple options. And I can see why they would say that. I do believe that people are called to do different things. Now, what those things are, my hands are up. I don't know what you've been told to do, but or drawn towards. For me, in my life, it's just gonna be monogamy, baby. Monogamy me, please. Okay, so the family apparently has goats and cats and chickens. We see them play with them. Christine then has this whole talk with their daughter. It looks like their oldest daughter. I believe her name was Abigail, talking about the chicken eggs and how do they collect them with the chickens roaming around. And one of the daughters explains, Abigail, that they hatch them and then normally they don't like sitting on their eggs. So the rooster will be walking around and the ladies tend to follow the rooster and he feeds them and he looks after them and he watches over them. And of course, that gets correlated to polygamy. Their daughter, Abigail, feels like the animals are a lot like people, that they do the same thing. Animals are allowed to have more than one wife, so why can't humans? You can tell that she is bothered while she's talking to Christine because she tells her how sometimes she gets made fun of because her family is a part of polygamy. And Christine feels bad for Abigail and speaks to her. The little girl is moved by her talk. Christine has this way of really engaging people, and she does a very good job of speaking with children. It's something that I've noticed over the years with her. She lets Abigail know that there are thousands of people who are just like her, and that she reminds her a lot of herself. And Abigail is smiling, and you can tell that Abigail was happy in that moment because she didn't feel like she was alone. Cody then jokes in confessional about how someone who was so nervous about meeting the family and being around the family and how if things weren't safe, then they needed to hurry up and exit, is now one of the main people enjoying the family. And I'm not surprised by this because Christine just overall seems to be a good person. Whether you like Christine or not, she's been pretty consistent in the way that she's been when it comes to the kids. To all kids. You can just tell she's welcoming. They go and have a picnic. They encourage the kids to mingle. We see them play. The older Brown kids are bonding with the younger Richards kids. They play tag and run around, and it's very cute to see. One of their daughters had this really, really long red hair, and it was so beautiful with her running in the wind. They really are a beautiful family. I will say that. So Christine hopes that as they continue to hang out with each other, that the walls come down and that they become more open. We have to remember that this is this family's first time not only coming out, but doing it on TV. They have a whole bunch of cameras and mics and things in their face. So I think that the children did very good. We then see them go on a tour. We find out that in this area 150 years ago, over 150 years ago, the polygamists were kicked out of the area. We hear about a law, it was called Executive Order 44. It existed until 1976. It was nicknamed the Mormon Extermination Order. And Janelle says it basically said in the order, like, exterminate or drive the Mormons out. That's the end of that. The parents all go out. The parents are excited to get away from the children. Janelle says, we've been with them in these RVs for 4 days. I need a break from them. Rebecca and Nathaniel did not date long before they got married. They kept reading the Bible in different versions together. And Nathaniel read it for himself. He says that he got to this point where he didn't recall the Bible saying anything in it that polygamy is wrong. I'm not going to get all into that. We're just going to go off of what he's saying in this statement. Please understand that I mean no disrespect, but I just don't want this to turn to a debate in the comment section, because that's not what we're here for. His beliefs are his beliefs, and on this channel, we are going to respect one another and our beliefs, okay? We hear about how when Nathaniel first introduced the idea of polygamy to Rebecca, that her thoughts were absolutely not. He made different jokes about, like, how while she was cooking food and he was sitting on the couch by himself, he would say things like, I sure wish there was another Rebecca to lay beside me, and while you did that, and things of that nature. And at one point, she was like, is this something that you really want? Because you keep on bringing it up. And he basically told her yes. When that happened, she said she began to wonder if there was something that she wasn't doing right, that he needed another person. She kind of felt betrayed and like she needed to do something to fix this. Cody then relates this story to what he went through with Mary, and he says that Mary is the one who brought him into the principle. In reading the book, I do not feel that it was Mary who brought him into the principle. I think he made Mary feel that that's what she did, but Cody started looking into the principle before he even met Mary, because his father and his mother becoming a part of it made him want to become a part of it. I don't care what he says. That's what happened. He started hanging around and going to these things and going to these events, and he saw Mary. In the book, Mary was very timid. They met. As a result, Cody kind of latched onto her. Mary was still undecided about whether or not she wanted to be a polygamist, but she kind of went that route once she started dating Cody, and she knew that's what he wanted. She fell into place as well. He says Mary would say things like, I'm not a good enough wife for you. And Mary says even now, she can't say that she's overcome these feelings, which is mind-blowing, because at this point they've been married for over 20 years and this is still a present feeling. And a lot of it has to do with Cody, because if Cody really loved Mary the way that she needed to be loved, then this would not be such a thing. I think that Mary felt neglected in so many ways, which is why she constantly needed certain reassurance, and the addition of wives did not help her situation. She says that when they are good, she doesn't have any problems with him showing a type of affection or love towards the other wives. But when they are bad, she wonders if he even still cares about her. Looking back at this, seeing her face while she's saying this in confessionals lets me know that at this point, they were in a bad period. It's just obvious. Rebecca said that she prayed about things and ended up going on the computer, finding other biblical polygamists, and that they made her feel more comfortable with the idea because she saw how great and beautiful their families were. and talking about certain things. They provided her with different teachings and biblical things of that nature that led her down a different thought process. Nathaniel said he got to the point where he basically asked God for a sign that this is what he needed to do, or, that this was the right path for him. And he had a dream or a vision, he's not sure, but he saw Christina as his wife, and Rebecca was okay with it. So they admit that they already knew her because they went to this big church together. The skeptic, one moment. The skeptic in me wonders if this was truly a vision that was given to him, or if this was just something that he desired, especially knowing since they were going to the same church. But we're going to go with this story. So Rebecca at some point looks at him and says, you were dreaming about Christina, weren't you? The Berg is very excited about this. We then find out that at some point they approached Christina, made a little mention of it, started looking into descriptions of things and scriptures and things of that nature, informed Christina about it. She then jotted down some things that she had previously dreamed about in her journal. She looks back at the journal and realizes that she dreamt about seeing herself tucking away someone's children that were not hers in bed. I can relate to writing down dreams because I've done that before, where I've written down certain dreams that I've had and gone back to it to see if later on it can be explained or things of that nature, because I do believe that sometimes we are given certain things in dreams. Don't judge me, it's just my thought. I've been here too long and seen certain things that happen within my family and things of that nature that it just, this is so off topic, but the night that not even my boyfriend anymore, my ex-boyfriend's brother was murdered, that night, that morning, I woke up panicking, and I knew something was wrong. I could feel something was wrong. I thought it was with my boyfriend, and we were in a long distance relationship. So I called him. He didn't answer the phone, and I texted him, and I just was like, is everything good? About 2 hours later, he called me on the phone, hollering and screaming because his brother was murdered, and he was murdered at the time that I called him. It's real eerie, like really, really eerie. So I do believe some of the dream stuff, some of the uneasiness. I do believe that certain things are put in us that kind of warn us about situations or make us aware of certain things. So I kind of get what they're saying, even though part of me is like, all right, now some of this y'all might just be fluffing up your love story, but we're going to go with it. So back to all of this. She said in the dream that she had, she saw a dad there that she knew was her husband, but she didn't know who he was because she didn't see his face, but she saw like the back of his head and what his hair looked like. And she started thinking about all the different people in her church or people that she came across that had that hairstyle. And she said, okay, yeah, Nathaniel has it, but there's no way because Nathaniel is married. So I guess the dream subject came up. He asked her if she would be his wife. She said no, not until God changes her mind about the whole polygamy thing. We find out that eventually at some point she did say yes. It's the next day. They're driving to the Fantastic Caverns. We see them go through a cavern on a little trolley thing. Then with the Richards, they go to the RV park to eat. They talk about how they co-parent together, even though the children aren't biologically Christina's. That one of the things that Rebecca worried about at times is how her continuing to conceive would affect Christina. She said that even with Naomi, she didn't tell her she was pregnant until she was 5 months in the pregnancy. And as she's telling this story, you see the both of them get teary-eyed, and you see Nathaniel comforting both of his wives. because like Mary, Christina is having problems conceiving. Christina does admit to wondering why her body that is so healthy cannot conceive. And some things are truly just beyond our understandings. One thing that I will say is I have several friends that have been told in the past that they would not be able to have babies. And at the end of the day, the doctors don't know everything. So I hope that she is able to at some point have a child. And I really want to go look it up and see, because you can tell she was bothered by it. Mary talks about how if it was not for the plural family that she has, that she would be missing out, because like Christina, she did desire to have a bunch of kids. I wonder how Mary feels now, given the current situation with the family, because Mary isn't really being included in the big family. We find out that they don't use the term sister wife, that they've heard the term co-wife, but they don't really like it. They then ask questions like about how it is to live in the different homes and all those things, because ideally wouldn't you want to be in one home, and did the thinness of the walls come into play and things of that nature. But the Browns do not answer the question about that one home. Instead, they kind of give each other a look when she said something about the thinness of the walls. And I said, man, there's something there. But of course, nobody's going to dig into it. The Richards talk about how they've heard about people sharing the same room, but still needing two separate kitchens, which they think is crazy. The Bird and Janelle and some of the Browns are very shocked about plural families sharing the same bedroom. At this point, I'm not shocked by anything. The Richards are shocked at the fact that the Browns are surprised, because apparently they've been exposed to more people who do that, and the Browns haven't. Rebecca says the main thing just needs to be understood that every family is built differently and they're unique, and everyone has different desires and wants, and what works best for them is what should work best for that family. And I feel like that's fair. I'm not going to judge them on their polygamous beliefs, because this family does seem to be functioning well together. Cody says that he was pulled to the side by a matriarch and was told very early on that every woman has her own room. And the Bird adds, and her marriage bed. I mean, if Cody says that every woman has her own room, I think it's safe to say that we understand that that meant that she had her own bed. But of course, little Birdie has to come in and speak for her big bald eagle and let it be known that she is his mouthpiece. It just gets on my nerves that she always feels the need to speak for him, like he's not capable of speaking without her. The rules are your wives don't ever share beds. And we then see the different families play together. They play Red Rover. Seeing them play this brings back memories. I want to play. Poor Jonathan, at the same child that was embarrassed earlier by Cody about Aspen liking redheads, ends up hurting his eye. I said, this kid can't catch a break. Cody hopes that the Richard family will be accepted publicly. He said that it's a scary path, but he hopes that it works well for them. Rebecca feels like what the Browns have done has made a major difference for their family and other plural families, and they hope it continues. They want more families that are polygamous families to be able to be public and to feel like family. And that is fair. Sorry that I was all over the place with this one, but y'all know me. It wouldn't be me if I didn't go on a tangent at times. Thank you so much to everyone for joining. You all, can you believe that as of today, I am at 800 subscribers? You cannot have told me that we would be approaching the first goal. Yes, I said first, because we're always going to keep aiming for more. You would not be able to tell me that we would approach the first goal this quickly, and I'm getting so excited about it. I'm loving the interaction. I'm loving seeing more people in the comment section. It means so very much to me. So thank you. Seriously. If I don't say it enough, I am appreciative. I started doing YouTube videos like 3 years ago. I did a couple of them and I just wasn't feeling it. Like I had no I wasn't enjoying it. And I didn't want to do it from a place where I wasn't enjoying it, where I was just seeking to just like, oh, let me hurry up and get a whole bunch of followers so I can monetize this thing. But my son, ironically enough, encouraged me to try again. And as a result, I've stuck with it. When I make a promise to him, I really try to keep it. So, son, if you're watching, thank you. For you all that are watching, thank you guys as well, because you watching, you commenting, you liking, you subscribing helps me get in that good old algorithm and gets my name out there. So I appreciate you. Happy holidays, and until next time.